So this will be our last session, a panel discussion with Hashed and Radius and Osmosis. So after panel talks, we will have some snacks, so you can have it, and some networking time also. So okay, so Josh, you had a presentation before, but Ryan and Nina, could you give us the brief introduction of yourselves?
Hello. Hi, I'm Nina from Radius, and I do business development.
Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Lee. I'm a co-founder at Osmosis as well as Kepler Wallet.
Hello, this is Ryan Kim, co-founder and partner at Hashed.
Okay, so we are here for Scalability conference. So I'd like to ask that there are many promising scalability solutions have emerged. So what are some of the innovative solutions or approaches that you see for achieving greater scalability as we move forward?
Need a moment to think.
So broadly speaking, I just want to say modular thesis. And I know that this is not something new if you've been in this space for a while, but I think that we're just at the beginning of the modular thesis, and this will, over time, evolve eventually to something different from what we're seeing right now. And I think just the concept of modularity and just specialization of these different layers is what enables rapid periods of innovation. And this is with like all technological or in certain industries. So blockchain is not any different. We're seeing different layers like execution, consensus settlement, and DA. I think Jen really explained this really well. But all these different layers that specialize in each of their different domains is what they will outcompete the ones that are non-specialized. So like monolithic ones. So for example, Radius, we specialize in sequencing, and this will basically replace the consensus part of the modular layers. And within that, we separate the sequencing and the execution part. So this is really fundamentally about reducing the costs. So if you use a sequencer, it can help reduce the cost of bootstrapping a validator, or just simplify the overall process of launching and operating a rollup. And on top of that, so if you use a shared sequencer, it can also bring like better benefits like atomic composability. So I think that without atomic composability, just scaling in general, just performance and TPS, it would be meaningless. So I think that there's no reason not to use it. And unless you want to be like an independent rollup that just doesn't want a synchronized or faster communication with multiple other rollups.
I think for me, I love the fact that this industry have kind of embraced a more pragmatic approach in realizing that there is no one-size-fits-all solution and going more towards this. Different applications, different type of communities prioritize different things, whether that's throughput or how fast something is, how secure something is, prices, et cetera. And previously, I think most of the solutions have kind of prioritized getting all of these improved at the same time. I think now it's more of a, we're really good at this, and we fully acknowledge the fact that in this specific area we do lack. But for some use cases, this may make sense. But if that's not the case, then there are other solutions, and there's this heterogeneity of different types of solutions for scaling, and not seeing scaling as like a one monolithic path forward. It's kind of there's many paths that each application can take, and no one right answer.
I think as an investor, I'm more like I can explain more like market approach and application perspective, and now like so many L1s like competing each other in terms of like throughput and security and modularity, etc. But in fact, the applications and game companies like don't know much and they don't understand. So they're only caring like a user experience and what kind of tools they're supporting and how easily user can onboard on the different L1s. So I think now it's like all the developers and foundation are focusing on the like how fast and how like secure the blocks. But I think to onboard the users and the companies, I think like middleware and the tools will be more important. And definitely the audience side is also very important. For example, like currently Polygon is like focusing on the more like gaming product, and now it's like gamers are like the trading on top of the NFT market on Polygon. And for example, like Ethereum is like focusing on the DeFi, and I think many audiences their targets are overlaps between L1s and L2s, but I feel like the solutions have to target very specific user characteristic, and then scale from that user to the general user group.
Okay, so thank you. So let's talk about the MEV. So the advent of MEV has actually sparked a quite intensive discussion within the blockchain community. So Radius has your own way to address MEV issue, and then Osmosis, you are collaborating with Skip, and then the Hashed, probably you have a really great insight about MEV from the perspective of VCs. So so what are the concerns that you have regarding its MEV's sustainability, or what are the key challenges or opportunities with MEV, and probably how do we mitigate the risks and promote a more transparent MEV landscape?
I guess I can go first here. I guess this is more of a personal take rather than like Osmosis as a protocol's take. But I think first of all, I think there's MEV. It started off as this whole like miners extracting value from users, and then now we're seeing a more. I think the field of MEV has moved away from like previously just being there's like miners are reordering transactions to make money. Now there's actually like interesting things you can do, and realizing that like transaction ordering is a lot more interesting than just sandwich attacks. Like first of all, I think that's the most important thing, and then like I mentioned in my keynote earlier, is like there's different funnels of creating revenue other than transaction fees, and chances are, same as sandwich attacks, I think we're gonna see the most bleeding edge innovators realizing that there's value that can be captured before anyone else can do it. And I think that's actually a good thing, right? Like maybe there's some level of harm done to the users, but I think some of the most brilliant people currently working in crypto were really incentivized by realizing there's like massive economic value that they could capture just by being searchers. And then slowly they kind of get interested and they transition into more of this protocol builders, application builders, and things like that. And I think that's a good thing. There needs to be economic incentives. It's a very capitalist market, right? If there's value to be captured, someone will capture it. And then the only thing is, I think eventually down the road, as people realize that there's value, and there's a small group of people capturing the value, I think it will end up becoming something where there will be a common protocol, or the value gets captured within the application itself. But that's okay, because then there will be searchers looking for other opportunities as well. But yeah, I think chaos in the beginning of any new opportunity is to be expected.
So I guess I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. I think everyone understands that MEV is only, the profit is only available to a certain few actors, and by which I mean validators. And in this concentration of profits is definitely at an unfair advantage to the users, and there's definitely a need for it. There's demand, obviously, but like just the general end users like myself who don't have the technical knowledge of like the extraction methods, I think that this is questionable in the fact that it harms the fairness and the integrity of the blockchain itself. So I think that we need to find that optimized solution that can satisfy all sides. So example, reducing the negative impact while maximizing the harmless ones. And we can definitely use the ones like Skip and what Osmosis is doing. So and which is what Radius is doing as well. So along the broader goals of incentive alignment for rollups, sequencers, validators, and scalability. So yeah, I think that we need to find that optimized solution.
So I think I'm not a builder, so I don't have much opinion on that. But basically, loophole, generally speaking, loophole of the certain infrastructure. Once that the ecosystem bigger, then the loophole get bigger. So now I think this kind of conversation is very productive. And I think GK proved like Radius approach and the Osmosis approach both are very meaningful, and eventually, when this minimizing MEV will redistribute the benefit to the user. So yeah, I'm as a continuously supporting these projects.
So any questions from the audience? Probably questions for these 3 projects might be appropriate. Or unless I can keep going. So we are seeing the diverse scaling solutions emerge, like layer 3 or app-specific rollups or app-specific chain or app chains. So how do these solutions differ in their suitability for different use cases? So will there be a place for all different scaling solutions or something?
So app chains, they're much more scalable in terms of better customization, performance, and value capture. And I think that out of all these, the value capture part is the most neglected one for like developers right now. And I think the challenge right now is that really hard. It's really hard to deploy. So which is why we see a lot of like rollup as a service providers coming into play. And in terms of market structure, I think app chains are right now best for those who have found a certain level of scale and product market fit. So I think that once we're seeing like challenges like composability, liquidity fragmentation, and on top of that, the difficult to deploy. So once these challenges are solved and the hurdles are removed, I think that the applications that we're seeing today are going to eventually transition to the app chain, sovereign rollup, or these rollup ecosystems, and these they're going to look for better like user experience and the growing user base and eventually the network effects.
Yeah, I think in terms of someone who's worked on both the protocol side but also like the user-facing software side, I think like the largest challenge when it comes to scaling solutions, which previously I mentioned, the diversity of different scaling solutions as one of the benefits. But then, stepping back into the wallet side, like the diversity of these chains and how different each chains are becoming is such a challenge from like the client side software. And there's this always a meme of like, like if you go to any crypto conference and you ask them, hey, how you're gonna, onboard the next million users, and they're always just gonna end up saying better wallets, like better UX, things like that. But it's such a cliche because I think there's this role of like chains building things that are very optimized for their applications, which is great, right? Like I fully believe in that thesis, but it's like also fully neglecting the fact that the diversity of these chains and these stacks are typically, how that impacts the user-facing software is often very not thought about until the very end. So yeah, we can abstract a lot of the complexities of on-chain activity from a very client, front end and things like that. But you can only do so much. I guess that's why I find the whole like intense thing a little bit interesting, because previously, everyone's going to be like, oh, how do you get the next million users? They're always going to say, oh, the wallets will fix this, or the, better front ends will fix this. Now we can say, all right, you guys build things. I don't know. The searchers will figure it out. We'll just let the user know this is what you're getting. So it puts less of a responsibility on people building user-facing software, and while at the same time providing a gateway for multiple scaling solutions to exist. So I guess that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I'm quite resonate with the Jingguan's the presentation that the market needs AWS for the next million. It's like cliche, but I truly believe we need to prepare that the era. For example, like in Korea, like so many gaming companies are preparing to onboard Web3. For example, like recently MapleStory, they the one with the biggest title from Nexon, they announced to onboard Web3, but their registered users is like 120 million. So it's like bigger than any L1 wallet accounts. So I think they'll be very challenging, but that's why like app chain and this kind of like the operational focus, the L1 story is like reasonable, and at the same time, like as you know, the security of the app chain is quite messy because some in Cosmos ecosystem still the shared security is very nascent. So they have to onboard a lot of validators, and it's very quite costful. L2, I mean the Ethereum, the app focus low still very beginning. So so many applications are trying to onboard right now, but still, this kind of a problem came out like a few years ago, but still there's no right solution. So now it's like very temporary solutions are coming out. Like if they're not using a non-custodial wallet, but rather they prefer to use a custodial wallet with email login. It's not fully decentralized, but there's not a good solution for them. So that's why like they're using a temporary solution. But I think application perspective, if they can solve out this problem with a temporary solution, I think that's meaningful. For example, like one of our subsidiary, Mode House, which is focusing on like decentralized K-pop group. They're now onboarding many fans to participate to the governance of the K-pop group, and they're using. They're already selling many NFTs, and fans are participating in governance. It's not the application looks a little bit different from what Web3 users expected, but it's working and partially decentralized, but still fans are very satisfied to doing activities in this economy. So I think user perspective, they have to wait for the fully decentralized ecosystem. But I recommend the company to use this kind of like Web 2.35 solutions. But eventually, I think app centric LoRa or chain will be more prevalent.
Okay. Okay. So any questions from the audience? Okay.
So Ryan mentioned this a little bit, but you were mentioning how gaming is a possible use case for crypto in the mass adopted scenario. But I'm curious if there are other more tangible use cases for the mass adoption of crypto.
In the sector-wise or specific user cases?
So if, say, we do believe that Web3 will happen in the same scale as the internet in the Web2 world, why would, say, someone on the street just like walking around care about crypto?
So basically, I think the gaming is like very easy to onboard the user because it's not that much dependent on the regulation. But now it's like, we can see many regulation guideline is coming out. Especially, I'm not sure about the US. US is now like quite tricky moment. So many US companies coming out. But the Asia and Europe, I think regulation will be pretty ready within 1 to 2 years. So then I think the gaming is one part. If you think about Web2 adoption, like a gaming company came to the market first, then like commerce and payments and other use cases came out. But I think if regulation is ready, then payments and more like finance sector will be a good case to onboard user. Like as an investor, we onboarded many traditional finance to our funds, and they're really into want to integrate the Web3 to their bank and payments, and even in security market. But all blocker is like regulation. So I think like we saw in Web2 world, other than gaming, I think the many cases like Web2 now like the sector, the tech giants are like not gaming, but like social network or commerce, etc. I think those sector definitely will be will come to market within 1 to 2 years.
Okay. So any other questions? Yep. So we this is it. This is the end of the conference. Thank you so much for the panelists. And then, yep.